Hello there, my beautiful and lovely internet friends. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me here today. As we dive in today, I would like to point out the fact that I found this necklace for $3 at a post office, and it has brought me endless joy over the past 48 hours. So earlier this week, I received a message from a patron of mine asking about how to feel like your skin is your own again after going through specifically sexual trauma. This is something that I've really struggled with, that I know so many of us face, and I wanted to talk about this issue and a few things that I have done that have really helped me start to feel like this is mine, like this is safe to exist in. If you haven't experienced trauma, this can be something that's hard to conceptualize. One of the biggest side effects of the trauma that I went through is that I no longer felt like my body was a safe place to be. Now, we cannot escape from our bodies, really. Like, they are a part of us. Our bodies and our minds are so interconnected. However, when you go through something that's really physically traumatic in any way, be it, physical abuse, sexual abuse, whatever it might have been, it's really hard to feel connected to yourself. And I think this evidences itself in a few different ways. Where I really noticed this first is so many people have recommended meditation to me over the years. Okay, cool. And I thought, fine, I'll try it a few years ago. And trying to be still and quiet with myself and just exist in my own skin for even 30 seconds was agonizing. Like, I couldn't do it, I didn't do it, I quit immediately. I was like, this is not for me, this hurts too much. Why do people do this? Why would I want to be aware of the breath in my body? Why would I want to be aware of my body at all? I spend most of the time trying to forget that I have a body. I spend most of my time trying to distract myself from that. For years, I would constantly have some kind of background, something that I could pay attention to, either like a TV show in the background, an audiobook, music, something, anything to escape simply being quiet with myself, because that was one of the most unsafe possible things to me. I think it's such a cruel effect of trauma that it distances ourselves from our own skin, from our flesh and bones, from our body. However, so many people experience this. For years, I felt like I was always kind of floating. I was always anxious and my chest was tight. And it's a really unique kind of challenge and experience to try to go about life, try to perform daily tasks, try to get up, get out of bed when you are carrying around with you something that you are so utterly disconnected from and or feel very unsafe in. Like, I didn't feel like my body was my own, and I didn't think I ever could feel like my body was my own again. Across the board, feeling disconnected is such a difficult and dangerous thing. As humans, we crave and we need connection, be it to ourselves or other people. So when you spend so much of your time being disconnected from yourself, from your body, from your skin, it makes things really weird and difficult and painful, and you're never really here, but you can also never really escape. So you're stuck in this limbo of talking specifically about sexual trauma. When someone else has taken ownership over your body for a period of time, when you've experienced something like that, when your free will over your physical self was taken away, that will leave a mark. After that, for so many of us anyways, it's really hard to feel like you have ownership over your body because you've experienced a time when that was not the case. So I lived with this for years and knew that it was something I wanted to eventually try to address, but it was also something I was absolutely terrified of. So we worked on other stuff in counseling. We saved the whole disconnected from my body thing for later. But I kind of came across something that helped me really unexpectedly. If you don't know, I'm a below the knee amputee. I lost my leg about 2 years ago. I had to make a decision to amputate to have a better quality of life because I was in tons of pain from years and years of surgeries on my ankle. And as part of recovering from that, a lot of self-massage was prescribed. Like, I spent a lot of time like massaging my upper leg, like the remaining leg that I had, because it gets really tight and feels weird and there's a lot of pain, and massage can help. Helps with blood flow, it's good for you. And even doing this simple act of self-care, of massaging my leg and acknowledging the fact that that was a part of me, that was my body, felt really foreign, felt uncomfortable at first, and then it started feeling really healing. I know this sounds like one of the most basic things, but taking time to intentionally touch my own body and interact with it in a way that was not harmful, painful, scary, to very honestly take care of it, even if that was for a few minutes a day, sort of brought up these feelings of, okay, for a second, I'm starting to feel a little bit connected to myself, but I couldn't really stay there longer than just like a second because it was weird and uncomfortable. But it kind of gave me a taste of maybe this is something I could get back. Maybe I could start feeling like my skin was my own and my skin was not terrifying. The second thing, I'm not necessarily recommending this if this is not your thing, but I know it's been really helpful for me, is piercings and tattoos. As odd as that may sound, a lot of trauma survivors find a lot of healing in this. Making choices about your own body that you and only you are in control of has been fantastically healing for me. I have 8 tattoos. Many of them are tied to significant things in my life or who I am or who I want to be. And making the choice of what artwork is going to be on my skin permanently was really empowering. I found the same thing with piercings. Making a choice about your physical body that you are changing or modifying or whatever it may be feels reassuring and feels good and has helped me connect with my body. Because I really like this little lion tattoo I have on my forearm. I appreciate the art. I appreciate that I put it there. I appreciate that I got to make the decision that that is going to be there and I like it. Number 3 for me, and honestly this is kind of number 1 for me, is physical exercise. Now this can come in so many different forms, so if you don't think of yourself as a sport or athletic kind of person, no worries at all. I found that for me, doing things that were physically very challenging, like MMA fighting, sparring, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, even things like yoga or going for a hike, were really good for me because I was required to exist in my body to do those things. Like when you are pushing your body to do something, a byproduct of that is feeling at least a little bit connected to what you're doing. Doing physical sports and activities that I generally enjoyed doing was unbelievably helpful in helping me to feel a little bit more comfortable in my skin, trust my body just a tiny little bit more each time. Along the same lines, something else that's been fantastically helpful is just dance. I'm not talking about classroom dance. I'm not talking about performance dance. I'm talking about the kind of dance you do when literally no one is watching. I'll turn on some music and just move however my body needs to move, and expressing myself through that movement, no matter how ridiculous I might feel or look, has been really helpful in slowly tying pieces of that connection back together. Number 4 or 5, I'm not really sure, is, for me anyways, nature. Getting away from technology, disconnecting from all of the things that distract me from what I'm feeling or distract me from these sensations has been a really good thing for me, especially in the last couple years. I've really made a point of going outside into nature, wherever that may be for me, taking 5 and then 10 and then 30 and then 60 minutes away from my phone, away from listening to things, to just kind of try to be present in the world. I had the distraction of like going for a walk or going for a hike, but being able to be a part of the natural world and recognize that you are also a part of that, at least for me, has been really beneficial. As I've kind of continued through this journey and picked up different pieces of what helps me connect a little bit better with myself, something else that's been really important for me to remember, as I tend to forget it pretty often, is that this isn't a process that needs to be rushed. There is nothing broken or immoral or wrong about the fact that sometimes I feel very disconnected from my body. It makes sense. It's a natural reaction to traumatic things. When I've spent a lot of time judging myself for this disconnection or for not loving the skin that I'm in or feeling like my body is unsafe, it just stops me from being able to actually invest in whatever is actually healing to me. So if you find yourself in this position of feeling very disconnected from your body, know that it's not any kind of failing. It's a very natural, common reaction to traumatic, difficult things. There are ways to slowly pick up those pieces of connection and start feeling like little bit by little bit you are safer in your own body and like your body is actually yours. Another very small and simple thing that's been helpful to me is spending tiny little bits of time in silence, sitting, just breathing. And by little bits of time, I'm talking about like a minute at first, and then 3 minutes, and then 5 minutes eventually, because sitting in silence and being present in my body, like I said, kind of terrifying for a very long time, sometimes still is, but setting a timer on my phone for 3 minutes that I'm going to sit in silence and just breathe as I'm able to, like as I've worked up to it, is something that's also been really helpful to me. I'll be honest with you, it's only recently that I've been able to start just a tiny little bit of meditation, just a tad bit, because it's something that I wanted to do, but it was always so uncomfortable because of this disconnection with myself that I never did it. But through working through a lot of things in therapy, through trying different ways of connecting with my body, I'm now at a place where I'm able to try that in little bits and pieces, slowly. Like I said, this disconnection, this feeling like your body isn't your own or like you don't want it to be your own, is something that a lot of people experience. If you're going through this, you're not weird, you're not alone. These are a few things that have helped me. There are a wide variety of other options you could try. I'll link some articles down below that talk about this, that give different suggestions. Let me know what you think. Have you tried any of these? Do they work? Do they not work for you? Have you tried other things that you would like to share with our community? I'd really love to hear from you in the comment section down below. And to the person who wrote this email, thank you so much for reaching out to me and sharing your story. A huge thank you goes out to all my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you so much for your generous and kind support. If you watching this right now are interested in what Patreon is or how you could get involved, I put a link on screen or down below. It's basically a way to support creators that you care about or you believe in, and also get access to a pretty cool community and some interesting perks. So check it out if you're interested. But to you watching this video right now, thank you so much for spending a few minutes out of your day here with me today. You could sincerely be anywhere else in the world doing anything, and you chose to hang out with me for just a few minutes, and I really appreciate that. Please take care of yourselves today. I love you guys. I'm thinking about you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.